time, each and every time the American people need something to be done, their governments are nowhere to help them. Their Congress actually is nowhere to help them. Their government says they don't have money for homeless, they don't have money to improve their medical care system, to improve their education system. They don't have money. They don't have money. They don't know where they can get this money. They don't even have this kind of budget. However, when it comes to funding wars abroad, they find the money somehow, somewhere. They actually do find this money. I don't know where it comes from, but it always appears. Now, it is actually very simple if you think about it. It's very simple. They just are all bought and paid for by the military industrial complex, by the deep state. So they do their bidding, always looking for wars to fight, even when they never win most of these wars. They just keep looking for which war is next, which war is next, which war is next. If you look at their Ukraine versus Russia, it is actually the whole entire West versus Russia, and Russia has rounded them up, has rounded up the entire West, including the US, and handed their assets to them and sent them, and it is sending them home right now. When you look at the war if you look at this conflict in Gaza, if you look at the war in Somalia, if you look at a lot is happening around the world just because of the military industrial complex of these first world countries. Particularly today, I want us to look at the US. The US today is suffering actually a very big problem of border crossing. They have a lot of immigrants entering their borders, a lot of them, undocumented immigrants. And I told you that here in Africa, normally dictators use these immigrants to bring them in, allow them be documented and stuff like that, because they want them to be voted to help them during elections, so that these immigrants can vote them into power back to help increase. Of course, even when they vote them, they can't make up the number of the deficit. So they help them increase in case they are to rig elections. At least they will have a bigger number. They don't have to rig all that much. You get. So I don't know if this is the same thing happening in the US, because your government is basically a dictatorship. I tell you this every day, dressed in a democracy suit. It never listens to what the citizens are saying. Never, ever. Today, when you look at the US, the citizens are saying ceasefire in Gaza. Their government is saying no. It's saying we are going to keep giving Israel all the help it needs. In fact, they are doing that. And they come in front of cameras and tell you that we are talking to Israel and telling them to minimize casualties, to stop killing innocent kids and women, which is not true. And on the other hand, they are handing them weapons to do exactly that. Right now, humanitarian aid is not getting through to the people of Gaza because of the settlers. The settlers at the Gaza crossing, and they are blocking aid. They are blocking every humanitarian truck that is supposed to deliver aid to the people of Gaza, being guarded and protected by the IDF itself. Yeah, the IDF is protecting the settlers at the Gaza crossing that are rioting and refusing trucks to get into Gaza. Meanwhile, I'm trying to round up this and give you a simple update of what is actually going on right now. So, meanwhile, in Israel, there are a lot of riots from the settlers, from the Israeli citizens themselves, from the Jews themselves, calling for the resignation of Benjamin Netanyahu. In fact, they should be calling for the resignation of his entire government, because it is their failure that has led to where we are at today. Okay? It is their shortcomings that have led to where we are at today. If 7th of October had never happened, we wouldn't be where we are today. Israel has never been so exposed, and it has never been so exposed, so isolated like it is today. If you look at the last or the recent votings at the United Nations Security Council, you will see that most of the US allies have started separating. They don't want anything to do with what Israel is doing to the people in Gaza. You understand what I'm talking about. Let's not forget that the US and its allies have a policy of making laws that only benefit them when they need them. For example, laws that do not benefit the US people. For example, anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism is saying that anti-Semitism is the same as being anti-Semitic, is the same as being anti-Zionism. That law is actually not that statement in itself doesn't make sense. It has nothing to do with the other. You can't say the wrong thing is the same as the right thing. Being anti-Semitism means you simply just don't like the Jews, or you're against the Jews or something. That is like saying it is like being Islamophobic. You know? You don't like Muslims like that. But being anti-Zionism, it means you just don't like the Israeli ideology or the Zionism ideology, because being an Israeli means that you agree with the biblical idea of saying that Israel should, or the Jews should impose themselves on a land that was given them through the Bible, years of which they never existed, that they should take that land. So that is what anti-Zionism is actually about. That is what being an Israeli means. If Israel is the only country that has people that come from everywhere but there, it has people that come from everywhere but there. They come from all around the world, but they do not come from they are not ethnically from that very country. However, they want the people that are ethnically from that country to be thrown out. That is what this is about. Okay? That is what this is about. So, everything we are saying today is not about it's not religious. It has completely nothing to do with religious, but it has everything to do with Zionism. There is a difference between Zionism and being Jewish. You understand? Being a Zionist means you believe in the biblical mentality that the land given to the Israelis in the Bible should be occupied, kicking out the ethnically belonging people who are the Palestinians today. So the logic of being a Zionist is to make sure that they create a Jewish state in the Middle East, fulfilling what was said in the Bible. I don't know if I've got that right, but I hope I have. But this land is occupied. So the Zionists are camouflaging behind the religion of the Jewish religion. They are camouflaging, they are hiding behind the Jewish religion to do every evil thing that you can imagine against the people of Palestine or against the ethnically belonging people of Palestine. It's what they are doing today. That's called Zionism. It has nothing to do with religion, with Islam and everything. Okay? Now, people who don't know where all this began are going to tell you that, you see, on October 7th, Hamas, come on. History doesn't begin from October 7th. And whatever Hamas did, let's say, okay, even if history began on 7th of October, it doesn't mean that you do more than 20 times more. It doesn't justify you doing 20 times more of what they have done. Now, if Hamas did what they did on October 7th, and they are called terrorists, and you have done over 20 times more than what they did, then what are you? I will tell you this. Being a terrorist, when you are labeled a terrorist, means they have just painted a target on your back for any intelligence organization, for anybody. Anybody can attack you, unalive you, and there will be no questions asked because you are the bad guy. You're the terrorist, right? That is what the West does to everybody that they want to unalive. First, they will first paint you as the bad guy, the terrorist, for anybody, so that they will have no clue. Whatever means they use to target you or to unalive you, they do not have to answer to anybody. That is the logic you people do not understand about this word terrorism. When you're labeled a terrorist, that means you are a target for anybody, any intelligence organization, anyone, anything can unalive you, and they will just say that was a terrorist, full stop. They will not be asked. That is why you see when Donald Trump unalived the Iranian general in Iraq, he was a terrorist, no questions asked. When they go around the world just unaliving people, calling them terrorists, they first label them terrorists, so they can unalive them and they are not answerable to anybody. It doesn't matter if you're a terrorist or not. Okay, it doesn't matter, because the game is no longer played like that. They're no longer following the right way it is supposed to be done. Because I've given you an example. If you say that Hamas, what they did on October 7th is an act of terrorism, so they are terrorists, okay, no problem, they are terrorists, do whatever. What about the people who do 20 times more of what they did? What do you call those people? Is that what you call defending yourself? Defending yourself means you had to do it on October 7th. That's when you had to defend yourself. This is called retaliation, not defending yourself. There's a difference. Retaliation or revenge, that's what you may call it. Defending yourself is different. It's when you are being attacked and you're defending yourself. It's different. So let us not get confused. I'll come back with this law Congress is trying to pass. Americans, you are in a dictatorship. Your lawmakers don't like you. They have never liked you. They do not care about what you think or what you have to say. They are corrupt as shit. They only follow the money. They are bought. If you had money to buy them or to pay them to change their minds, that would work 100%. But I would like to inform you today that you are in a dictatorship, and stop coming to our countries telling us how we need to govern or how we need to be governed. Yet you're failing at it in your own countries. You don't listen to your people. Listen to what your people are saying today. And look at what you're doing. Listen to what they are saying and look at what you're doing.